Over the past month or so, I've been working on reading 3 books series. 2 I finished, and the 3rd I'm still working on. But while reading these book series, I've came up on this startling discovery. Have you ever found an author that you liked, and then you sat down and started reading through every single one of their books? However, about halfway through their library, you were started feeling kind of icky and kind of ruined a couple of the other books for you. I've had that twice. First with The Wheel of Time. It was about halfway through the series. I was just kind of done with it. And then halfway through, I was working on reading Brandon Sanderson last year or so. And I think it was partway through the second Stormlight Archive. And I had read all of Mistborn, Elantris, Warbreaker before. Partway through the second Stormlight Archive, I was kind of not really feeling Sanderson. Well, recently I came to a discovery of a way to, for the most part, get rid of that. You see, some of us are incredibly spoiled to have the ability to just read through an entire series all at once, and it's really fun not having to wait an entire year to see what happens. But another thing is a disadvantage, because the authors writes the books, and they don't do it intentional. It's just kind of the way book series are baked in. They assume that some time has passed since you've read the last one, and so they have recaps and everything. And those, if you go from one book to the other, I find getting annoying. That's like, oh, this is book 5. Do I need to really know how this person looks again? I know how this person looks completely. I don't need to know what happened to the last book. I just read the last book. Stuff like that. Another thing, and there isn't anything wrong with it, is eventually you're just going to get tired of reading the same kind of book over and over again. So that was my problem with The Wheel of Time, is I was reading an epic fantasy book pretty much for 2 or 3 months straight. And so after a while, it's like I probably had the wanting for something different. So recently I was reading the Powder Mage trilogy, the Belgrade books, which are right here, and the Death's Gate cycle by Margaret Wise and Tracy Hickman. Now, 2 of the series are older, and so like David Eddings, they're pretty thin books. I haven't had one that's over 300 pages, and the same with the Death Gate one, because they're around the same before Fantasy Office decided that it was illegal to write anything more than 500 pages in a book. But the other ones weren't, and the Powder Mage trilogies were healthy, modern 800 pages, 600, 800 pages. But because I had so many series, what I ended up doing is I'd read one of one series and then one on the other. So I'd read a Belgrade, and then I'd read a Death Gate, and then I'd read a Powder Mage. That went on until I finished the second Powder Mage, so 6 books, and then I had to just read the third Powder Mage book because I wanted to know what happened. So, but I was surprised how much reading I could get done without getting tired, or just feeling like I needed a break for a week or so from reading. Even with the shorter books, I was reading the Land Rover books by Terry Brooks, Magic Kingdom for Sale, and a couple books through, I was also feeling like, okay, I'm going to take 3 days before I read the next one. But no, with this, it was one book, then I started the next day, and back and forth and so on. I wasn't like reading them constantly or anything. I have other things to do, but I was reading pretty consistently, and I didn't get tired. Thinking of the way this is, it's not the same as having to wait almost a month or almost a year or multiple years in between books. But it is an amount of distance which allows you to kind of process, and in a way they say absence makes the heart grow fonder, is while I was reading a Belgrade book, I wanted to know what happened in the Powder Mage's books, and when I was reading it, when I was reading Powder Mage, I wanted to know what happened in the Belgrade, and it just made the reading a lot funner, and it's something I think I'm going to keep doing in the future. It doesn't even have to be multiple series. Let's say you were going to reread the Stormlight Archive because Brandon Sanderson's going to come out with the next one in November. I'm not going to, but let's say you were. Instead of doing another series, you could find some palate cleanser books to do in between. So, like, maybe you would take Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It's a really light, quick read. It's a good palate cleanser. Or maybe you'd read a Louis L'Amour. I talk about fantasy and not Western, but the Western books are pretty good, and he's a pretty good author. And they're all standalone. They're relatively short. You can't do a big one, so you could alternate Wheel of Time and Stormlight Archive if you wanted. But probably halfway through the one, you'll be really wanting to know what happened to the next one. So the shorter ones, and now that I think about it, that's the reason why this one worked, is both the Belgrade and the Deathgate are the shorter series, so there was a quicker turnaround. But yeah, I'm really excited with this discovery, and I mean, it might be something kind of obvious. I haven't really noticed other people talking about it, reading this way. I think it works. It's a really good system, and it's what I'm going to do going forward. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope what I've discovered will be as useful for you as it will be for me. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.